Healthy Scratch Red Wings Report, presented by 5v5hockey.com.
Welcome back to the Healthy Scratch Red Wings Report. It's Buschy with you, finally, once again. We're going to talk some Red Wings. It's been the full season. I know I haven't been here. I'm going to explain why. Let's get started. First things first, I haven't had a video on my page for 3 months, and it was one that was kind of just hastily put together. I didn't have the studio set up, and the reason is because I moved. And I didn't have anywhere to shoot video, finally do, and now we're going to be cooking with gas. And also another big thing in my life is I'm a dad again. I got my second daughter now, just had her a week ago. So this is something where she's napping right now. I have some time to talk Red Wings, and I thought I'd chat with you guys finally. And what can we say? What is going on with our Red Wings this year? Because we ended last year on such a great note on just the way that the Wings ended the season, the energy in the building, almost making the playoffs. This year has not felt like that even a little bit. And I know as fans, we can all palpably feel that. I know I can. Why? Well, some of the things that I'm seeing that are just not working right now, in my opinion, the coaching. And that has to go with tactics, with you know, how they're doing their lines, the way they play, how they change or don't change things during games, in between games, things like that. It's not working. And I'm now finally on the, if they got rid of Derek Lalonde, let's just say I wouldn't be too upset about it. Now, I don't think he's going to get fired until the end of the season, and I think we all know that that's not how the Red Wings do it, firing someone in the middle of the season, because, and this is going to sound very, very upsetting for a lot of people, but I don't think this year matters. Now, I'm going to explain that, and I know that sounds insane. I'm like, of course this year matters, and I mean, if you've seen my Twitter, I am most of the time pretty furious whenever I'm watching a Red Wings game, or I'm just kind of over it. What I mean by that is, in the grand scheme of things, and I'm going to do kind of like a Yzerbot versus the not Yzerbot, and I hate using that, but here is how I feel about all of this. This year sucks. I hate it. We all hate it. We want to see our Red Wings do well. They are not doing well right now. They're winning some games here and there, but by and large, they haven't looked great. A lot different makeup than last year, and I think I, for sure, underestimated the impact that some of the players that they lost actually had, and some of the guys that got brought in or brought back, I thought that they would have more impact than the players we lost. It absolutely hasn't happened that way. You think of players like Shane Gostisbehere, Jake Wallman, David Perron, Robbie Fabry, even Daniel Sprung. All these guys contributed in a way, offensively, defensively. Most of those guys are offense. We can't score right now. It's a real problem. The offense has dried right up. 5-on-5, the Red Wings are awful. Watching them 5-on-5 puts me to sleep. They have no structure, and that's the second thing that I was going to say is tactically, I don't know what they're being taught here, because breakout-wise, I don't even know if they have one. It's rim the puck, glass and out, flip it out, dump it, ice it, change, rinse and repeat. The other team is coming in on every single time I'm watching a Wings game, it looks like they're getting outshot 2-1. And for one of the things, the tactics that I was looking at is a guy like Patrick Kane does not look at all like he did last year, and number one would be he's a year older, but at the same time he actually trained all offseason without injuries, so this is something that he was looking forward to, not having the hip issues, but he's 36, he's not going to move like he used to. But last year he was one of our best players every single night, and he was showtime, and this year he has not been able to take over games the way he did last year. Why is that? Sometimes I look at who's he on the ice with, and I'm not even talking about forwards right now. We could delve, deep into that, but he has played with most of the forwards. It's defensemen, and this is something that you're going to notice this when you watch Red Wings games from now on. They don't join the rush. Our defensemen, minus Seider, minus Edvinsson, largely do not join the play 5-on-5. Guys like Petrie, Sherratt, Justin Hall, even Albert Johansson, they're not just going to jump in, and even Gustafsson, he doesn't know when to do it. They're not adding to our 5-on-5 in the offensive zone at all. They don't add really that much in the defensive zone in the breakout either, because they're not making really good breakout passes. So it's a lot of chipping in, a lot of broken plays in the neutral zone, coming back the other way, and that is a huge problem, and that is a personnel issue too. I mean, as much as I like to crap on Derek Lalonde this year, you can't get crap ingredients and then cook an awesome cake. It's just not going to happen. So here's two ways we're going to look at this. because I know there's going to be people on both sides of this, and I've thought about this at length. Number one is this sucks. This year sucks. Fire everybody. I don't want to, go through this. Like, how are we going to make the playoffs? And people are frustrated. I am one of them. And as fans, I think we all are frustrated. And the reality is, last year, the energy in the building, the way that the Red Wings almost made the playoffs, so like right down to the last second, the heroics, the crazy games at the end against Montreal, that I think set an unrealistic expectation that this year was going to be exactly like that, where they played high danger hockey last year, where there were some games it was 7-6. This year it's a lot of 3-1s and 4-2s. It's a little bit lower. Like, are they better defensively? Like, technically, but it doesn't look like that. They are inviting the offensive team coming into the defensive zone. And at the beginning of the season, one of the videos I did talk about possible regression, because all of these young guys coming in, they're newer. Simon Edvinsson, technically, this is his first full season. Marco Kasper is new. Albert Johansson. There's some young guys that are now into roles, even like Jonathan Berggren. They're getting put into roles that they weren't in last year. Or they were in the minors or didn't have the time that they did. So that is something where I thought there'd be regression, but just not this much, because I think you can argue that, the young guys are the ones that are driving the bus. The old guys are the ones that are costing us. And the other thing that I would look at just as a negative thing, a negative outlook, would be there's just no compete most nights. You don't see any fire from these guys. There's no pushback. When it does happen, or when they get scored on early, or, it's a backbreaking goal, like, they're done. Like, they fold like a cheap lawn chair. And that's something that we did not see last year. They fought back. They would come back in ways where you'd count them out, and all of a sudden the game would be tied and they have a chance. So that's in the here and now, and that's living in the moment going, I hate this, I want it to change, fire somebody, trade somebody, do something aggressive. And we all know that is not how Steve Yzerman does things. So here is the opposite approach, okay? This is the thing that I think people are going to be maybe a little upset about, and call me an Yzerbot, but the rebuild is going perfectly fine. Okay, and I know that's something where we're going to kind of go, what do you mean they're looking terrible, some of these players, and blah, 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 blah. We look at guys that Yzerman has picked. Lucas Raymond, Mo Seider, Simon Edvinsson, Marco Kasper. I think two of those guys are studs. Edvinsson is on his way to being a stud. And then Marco Kasper, he's young. I mean, he's got some time he's in the NHL. He is an NHL player, let's put it that way. And I think it's going to take him a little bit to maybe even bump into the top 6. And that's where I look at some of these prospects. It takes time. Marco Kasper was an 8th overall pick. Not everybody's going to be Lucas Raymond coming in here and being awesome right away. It's very rare that happens. So that's where Yzerman always preaches patience. And again, if we go all the way back to when he was hired, he said he was going to build through the draft. He was going to, get draft picks, prospects, and build internally over a long time. And I mean, if we even look at, we're not even at a 10-year mark. And I know that sounds insane, but this isn't football. This isn't something where you can just snap your fingers and all of a sudden your team's amazing, because that's where mistakes get made. And I think the reason that this is going the way it is Yzerman has such a long leash because he's Steve Yzerman, but it gives him the opportunity to build this properly. And I honestly think that all the crappy contracts and the aging veterans that we have on this team do not matter. And the reason is they're not going to be here when we're competing. When guys like Edvinsson and Kasper and Danielson and Wallander, Axel Sandin Pellikka, Trey Augustine, Sebastian Kosa, Dmitry Buchelnikov, like all these guys, even Amadeus Lombardi, like we have all these guys that are still doing so well wherever they are. And I'm excited for these guys to keep coming in, filling the holes on these team, because guys like Andrew Kopp and JT Compher and Petrie and Gustafson and Sherratt Hall, half the freaking roster isn't going to be here. And that's okay. I think that they are signed to have an NHL team right now, allow these prospects to, develop the proper way, and then when they're ready, they come in. Here's where it gets tricky. And this is where I am going to kind of give you guys my line of, here's where I would be done with Steve Yzerman. I'm already done with Derek Lalonde. I've already seen how he coaches. With Steve Yzerman, when or if his prospects start to fail and they aren't what we thought they were going to be, and hopefully this doesn't happen, but if Nate Danielson is a bust, Branson Nygaard is a bust, Kosa is no good, that is where he is now on the clock, because you said you're going to build through the draft, and if you didn't hit on these picks and you're not supplementing the proper way, then I'm going to have a problem with it. So that's how I feel about the Red Wings right now. In the moment, it sucks. I hate it. I want blood. I think we all do. And we want the same feeling we had last year. But realistically, it takes time. And I know that's such a bot answer, but realistically, that's what it's going to take. And it's going to take a couple more years. And I think, and I hope at one point we're sitting here doing a video where it's like, remember that crappy season where we had all those crappy defensemen, where, it wasn't fun to watch, but remember all those players like Casper and Edvinsson, and they were all kind of trickling in, and all these prospects, and we're talking about how good they all are and how great of a team the Red Wings have, and they supplement it maybe with maybe a stud in free agency, Mikko Rantanen, or whoever they can get. So that's where I am with the Red Wings right now. Now, hopefully I get some more videos out to you guys soon. I definitely missed doing this, and I missed talking to you guys. So leave a like, comment, subscribe if you can. Any comments? Let me know how you guys are feeling about the season. I'm pretty sure you're going to echo a lot of what I just said. And having that kind of duality of the mind of going okay, I understand that this sucks now, but on the other hand, it's going to get better. I think that's where you're going to have to be, and just kind of watch it for what it is this year, and hopefully they can turn it around and maybe do what they did last year, go on a run. But until next time, it's Buschy, the Red Wings Report. Happy to be back. I'll see you in the next one.